Okay, my first name is Rob, R-O-B, last name Ransweiler, R-A-N-S-W-E-I-L-E-R. I'm a captain with the El Cajon Police Department, acting as the PIO today. Okay, at approximately 4:15 this afternoon, the El Cajon Police Department received 911 calls that there was an active shooting here at the dentist office across the street from where we are, 480 North Magnolia Avenue. Officers arrived on scene and began providing life-saving support to 3 victims. There is one deceased victim here on scene still. 2 victims were transported to area hospitals. One of the victims is a male in his 40s, and the other victim is a female in her 20s. And my last update about them is that they are stable at area hospitals. So, as I mentioned before, our Twitter account has the name and identification and vehicle information of a suspect in this shooting. I know that you're going to be asking me questions in regard to the investigation. Because this is early on in the investigation, I probably either A, won't be able to answer it, or B, don't have that information at this time. So the most updated information that we have has been pushed out to everybody on Twitter. So that is what I recommend for most of you, but I will take questions, and if you have one that I can answer, I certainly will. So
do we believe this was targeted in any way? Did the suspect know the victims?
That's a great investigative question that I can't answer.
Was the shooting inside the dentist office?
It was inside. Everybody was inside. In an attempt to provide life-saving CPR, the officers brought the person outside.
Is this person known to law enforcement? The photo looks like a mugshot.
The photo is not a mugshot. It's a Department of Motor Vehicles photograph.
There are 2 businesses to either side of the dentist office. Do we know if anyone was inside at the time, if they were affected at all?
It was an operational office building, and to my knowledge, nobody in the other offices was affected, other than the fact that there was a shooting next door and officers completely shut the place down. So I'm sure they were affected, but if I understand your question correctly, nobody was injured as a result of the shooting.
So you gave us a little description of the 2 victims who were wounded, but what about the person who was killed?
So the person who was killed, because we don't have access to that person, right? The coroner's office will be responding shortly along with the investigation to confirm the identity. So at this point in time, even though I believe I know the identity, we cannot release that because it hasn't been confirmed.
Male, female?
It is a male.
A male, approximate age?
I don't want to give that at this time. I know it, I just don't want to give it.
I know what type of firearm this is.
It was a handgun. I apologize, I should have included that. It was a handgun used in this incident.
And could you just go over the suspect description and basically where they were last seen when they left the scene?
So we have the flock camera system that the city uses. We were able to obtain license plate information from the flock camera system as the vehicle left the area. So we never saw the suspect on scene. And so, but we were able to use that technology to identify the vehicle, confirm that it was rented by the suspect that we pushed out on Twitter, and the suspect's information, photograph, name, and age is on Twitter for you guys to get.
Captain, forgive me for if you've mentioned this, but how many shots were fired and did he reload?
That's a good investigative question that I'm not going to answer.
At this point,
I don't have it.
At this point, the suspect is believed to still be out there. You said armed and dangerous.
I do believe that the suspect is armed and dangerous at this time, yes. The release that we said, or the release in Twitter, put the information out there as armed and dangerous and to call 911 if you see the suspect.
And we hear he might be located in Santee Town Center. Is there any indication of where the suspect might be right now?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I have an entire investigative unit. It's working on this active information while I stand out here and talk to you guys. So where he currently is, if we knew, then he probably wouldn't be there. He'd be with us.
Okay.
But
I
don't know. Yes.
Can you tell us if the suspect is local?
His residence is out of El Cajon, yes, sir.
And so obviously you're by his house and all of that stuff. Do you suspect he might have gone elsewhere?
I have no idea where he went after, the flock camera captured his license plate. So we know the vehicle he's in, we know who it is. We released the picture and everything else on Twitter, so all of that information is there for you. But if we knew where he was, then we would be there. So.
And you did say the 2 others are expected to survive their injuries.
That is the information that I received. Obviously, a traumatic gunshot wound, is not a nice thing. So, that's the information I have at this
Captain.
time. And 1 second, he's been waiting patiently.
For the man who died, was he killed inside of the office or did he come out?
No, the officers encountered this person inside of the building and brought them outside to perform life-saving measures.
So he died
Did you
outside.
say all your employees at the dentist office, or
I didn't say.
do we know?
I don't know.
And were there other witnesses at the time, other employees,
There were other people inside of the office at the time, yes.
Is this considered a MCI, mass casualty?
Well, that's a good question. I believe that has to do with how many people were deceased, but I'd have to look that up. I don't have a direct answer for you at this time.
And how the investigation from here? Are you just going to be interviewing witnesses all night? What's going to be going on this evening here?
Yeah, so we have a homicide, right? And so we're going to treat this like a homicide. Yes, Investigations Division is attempting to find the suspect, and they're going to be coming out here, conducting a full crime scene investigation, and do everything that they do in a normal homicide investigation. So we will be out here for a very long time.
Sorry, now that we know the name, do we have any idea what his connection might be to the dentist office or someone inside?
So the short answer is, I'll bet you we know, but I'm not prepared to release that information at this time.
Thank you.
Clearly a lot of concerned citizens here outside of us. Your message to folks who may know the area, go to the dentist's office. There's a community center here for folks who might be concerned about just the victims and the status of their neighborhood that they probably know and love.
I apologize. I missed the question. I heard the build-up.
No worries. Just your message to the public who might be concerned who this person is, the general welfare of the being, that as a lot of people are curious and wondering what happened.
Yeah, so there were a lot of family members on scene. So, most of the people who were involved, they have information as to who was involved. And so the area, obviously, as you can see behind me, Magnolia, both northbound and southbound, is closed from Weld Avenue to Madison Avenue. So if you're coming into El Cajon, best to use an alternate route other than Madison, because you will be diverted over towards Valentine or Johnson. But other than that, I'm not sure how else to answer your questions. Thank you. Anything else, anybody?
So just to clarify, the man who did die was shot inside and came out and was treated medically?
No. To clarify, the officers encountered the male inside of the business. Because it was still an active scene, they pulled him outside to provide life-saving measures. So it was safer out here than it was in there.
Then he died before he reached the hospital?
He's still there.
Oh.
Last question I would just say is, can you wrap up what the rest of the evening will look like as far as the scene and what the public can expect for closures in the investigation and whatnot?
Right, no, understand. So the rest of the night, it will look very similar to it does right now. Madison will be the primary thoroughfare going east and west through this area, or Weld to the south of the location. It's my belief that Magnolia will remain closed for several hours. Because the incident was dynamic at the time. It includes the entire office building, and we're still actively searching for the suspect. It is my guess that this will be shut down for several hours into the evening.
When was the last time El Cajon dealt with an active shooter situation like this?
It's a really good question that I don't have an answer to.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.